She spent 8 years building a dream on the edge of the sea. Elise Moreau, a rising star in the world of orca training, captivated audiences with her daring routines and her undeniable connection with the ocean's apex predator. But one sweltering August afternoon, that dream shattered. Beneath the blinding Florida sun, in front of a packed stadium, it became a nightmare. Prepare yourself. What you're about to hear is a tragedy. It will challenge everything you thought you knew about marine parks. 3 vital truths. Elise Moreau was on the fast track to becoming a legend. Namu, the orca she trusted, carried a history of aggression no one dared acknowledge, and the horror that unfolded wasn't just an accident. It exposed a fatal flaw in an industry built on illusion. This is the horrifying last moments of orca trainer Elise Moreau from childhood. Elise felt an undeniable pull towards the ocean, raised in a quiet town nestled beside the Atlantic. She'd spend her days exploring the shore, mesmerized by the waves, yearning for something beyond the horizon. While other children dreamed of fame, Elise dreamt of fins, of sleek black bodies gliding effortlessly through the water, of orcas, magnificent, powerful, UNTA. MED, how did Elise Moreau start her career? At 22, Elise turned her obsession into a mission. She enrolled in marine biology programs and immersed herself in the world of cetaceans. She studied every behavior, devoured every research paper, and learned everything she could. But she realized something textbooks couldn't teach her. What she truly needed to know, she needed to be in the water. She needed to connect. She needed blue sea quickly. Elise rose through the ranks. She had a gift for training, a patience that seemed boundless, and an empathy that resonated with the orcas. Where others saw simple creatures, she saw complex individuals. Where others demanded obedience, she earned respect. She didn't force the orcas to perform. She inspired them. By 29, Elise was a headliner. She was the face of Blue Sea Sanctuary. Each day, thousands flocked to witness Atlantis Rhapsody, a dazzling spectacle where orcas danced in perfect harmony with their trainers. A testament to the seemingly unbreakable bond between humans and animals. Elise was the star, radiant and confident. But backstage, a different story was brewing. Her relationship with Namu, the park's largest and most formidable orca, was both celebrated and scrutinized. Namu was immense, weighing over 7,000 pounds and stretching nearly 25 feet. He was a showstopper, yet he had a reputation. Rumors of unpredictable behavior, of sudden aggression, swirled amongst the staff. Elise dismissed them. Namu isn't a monster, she insisted. He simply misunderstood. She saw a soul in Namu's eye, a kindred spirit. She believed her love could conquer any darkness. Blind to the storm brewing beneath the surface, Namu's troubled past from Iceland to captivity. Namu wasn't born in Blue Sea. He was snatched from his family, torn from the wild waters off the coast of Iceland. One frigid morning, a fleet of boats descended upon his pod nets, ensnared him. His cries of distress drowned out by the roar of engines. He was just a calf, barely old enough to be without his mother. His world was reduced to a cramped tank. The story they told was about rescue. The reality was abduction. For years, Namu was a commodity, traded between parks, forced to adapt to new environments, new trainers, new rules. He learned to jump, to wave, to spin on command. But underneath the surface, something was festering. Reports described him as volatile, unpredictable, a danger to himself and others. He'd refuse to eat for days. He'd lash out during performances. He attacked another trainer. The reports were filed, but they were ignored. Blue Sea saw potential. Namu was huge. He was imposing. He was a guaranteed draw, and he had a connection with Elise. It was a partnership that seemed to work. Elise would speak. Namu would listen. They became stars, but the facade was cracking in his final months. Namu became more erratic. He'd miss cues. He'd ignore commands. He'd stare at Elise. Jaw popping. A known sign of Orca agitation. Elise wrote it off as stress. He's tired, she'd say. He'll be fine. Others were not so sure. They saw a darkness. In Namu's eyes, a pent-up rage threatening to explode. Trainers voiced their fears, sharing notes, comparing observations. He's losing it, one warned. He's not safe. Elise refused to listen. I know him, she said, better than anyone. Her love blinded her to the danger. She refused to believe that the animal she trusted could ever turn against her. Warning, signs. What did people miss? Love can be a dangerous thing. It can make us ignore the obvious, rationalize the inexcusable. It can convince us that danger comes in a familiar face. Namu wasn't just acting out, he was unraveling. He had suffered too much. Soon, that suffering would erupt. August 22nd was sweltering. The air hung thick and heavy with humidity. It was Blue Sea's anniversary, and the park was packed. Over 1,000 spectators crammed into the stadium. Souvenir shops did brisk business. The speakers blared pop music. A decade of harmony. Banners fluttered in the wind. Elise and Namu. A celebration of love. Elise seemed unnaturally quiet. One staff member saw her standing by the tank, staring at Namu, a shadow of concern etched on her face. Showtime. Elise stepped onto the platform in her wetsuit. A smile plastered on her face. The opening chords of Atlantis Rhapsody filled the air. Namu was supposed to breach, exploding from the water in a majestic display of power. He didn't move. Elise signaled again. Nothing. A dark shape lurking beneath the surface, slowly. Namu began to rise. His massive dorsal fin sliced through the water. He glided towards Elise with an eerie grace. But instead of performing his routine, he turned. His body brushed past her, knocking her off balance. Someone's feeling playful today, Elise said. Forcing a laugh, the crowd chuckled. No one sensed the impending doom. Elise prepared for the next maneuver. She tapped the water, cueing Namu to surface beside her. He surged forward, fast, silent, a torpedo of muscle and rage. The crowd gasped. What happened next? Silence descended upon the stadium. This wasn't part of the show, no music, no choreography, only the sound of rushing water and a blood-curdling scream. Namu launched himself from the depths. His immense body slammed into Elise. The force was devastating. She flew off the platform. She hit the water hard. The audience believed it was a trick, a mistake, a part of the show. The illusion shattered when Namu's jaws clamped around Elise's leg. He wasn't playing, he was attacking. A wave of horror swept through the stands. Elise was dragged under, her legs flai-led. Her arms reached for the surface. Blood and bubbles rose together, staining the water crimson. The trainers initiated emergency protocols. They tried everything. Distraction noises, hand signals. Namu didn't respond. He was in a rage. Elise resurfaced. Her face was contorted in terror. "Help me," she screamed. Her final words. Namu dragged her back under, thrashing her body violently. He hurled her through the water. Her limbs became limp, her bones shattered. Then silence. Namu exploded from the water. Elise's lifeless body was in his jaws. He tossed her into the air like a rag doll. She crashed back into the pool with a sickening thud. The crowd watched a murder. The show was over. The illusion was gone. The stadium was plunged into shock. Then chaos erupted. Park staff ushered people out, repeating, "Don't look back." Children sobbed. They were too young to understand, but too old to forget. Behind the scenes, medics fought to save Elise. Chest compress, IONS, oxygen defibrillators. Her body was too broken, her lungs filled with water. Her leg was severed at 3:17 p.m. Elise Moreau was pronounced dead. She was 29. She had died during a performance. In the aftermath, silence blanketed the park. The gates were locked. The music was stopped. Staff members huddled together. Kayla was moved to the medical pool. He was calm. He was quiet. He was alone. Headlines flashed across the world. Orca kills trainer during show. It was more than a headline. It was a tragedy. It was a brutal reminder of the price of captivity, a reckoning, what went wrong at Blue Sea. Hours after Elise's death, Blue Sea became a crime scene. Investigators descended upon the park, OSHA, animal welfare groups, marine biologists. They uncovered a web of lies and deceit. Emails, training logs, internal memos. Namu was violent. He was a danger. Instead of removing him from the show, the park chose to conceal the truth. Too valuable to sideline, one email read. Elise can handle him. Namu was a moneymaker. Elise was expendable. Former trainers broke their silence. He was unraveling, one revealed. They told us to adjust the show, not the whale. They protected the illusion of harmony instead of the humans behind it. The public was outraged. Social media exploded. Justice for Elise became a global rallying cry. Lawsuits were filed. Petitions were launched. Blue Sea executives scrambled. The end of Blue Sea and captivity. Elise's family released her journal. Namu looks at me with sadness now. One entry. Read. I don't know if it's me he's angry with or the world. Her words echoed through the media. Lawmakers convened an emergency session. The Orca Protection Act was back. News anchors choked up. Parents cancelled vacations. Sponsors pulled out. Candles flickered outside the gates of Blue Sea. She gave her heart to the ocean. One sign read, "The system drowned her." Elise's death sparked a global debate. Kayla never performed again. The spotlight faded. The tanks were locked. Namu was left alone. He circled endlessly. He was broken. Was he mourning Elise? Was he mourning himself? Elise Moreau didn't die in vain. She died because the warning signs were ignored. She died because profit was placed above safety. She died because captivity is cruel. Namu wasn't a monster. He was a victim. How many more lives must be lost before we learn? Speak out. Share this story. Demand change. End captivity. Elise's voice must be heard. Now it's your turn to listen.